Her world was a courtyard. She was not yet tall enough to see behind the homes, workshops, and factories. Then one spring she stretched above the orange roofs and took in the beautiful city. She spread roots and reached skyward in peace until war came.
What's war?
War is when countries fight against each other. Here we can see the soldiers. Explosions shook the ground. Rockets split the night. Strangers invaded the city. So here's the city, and these are planes from another country with bombs. And these are soldiers with guns.
What happened?
They're coming to invade, meaning they're coming to take over. These soldiers from another country. And the chestnut trees in the courtyard. The first winter of the war, a new owner came to one of the factories. He had a wife and two daughters. So there's the owner and the wife and the two daughters. They're coming to one of the factories. The older girl was quiet and proper. The younger was lively. This is the younger daughter.
Oh, so that's what happened.
Her name is Anne
Yeah.
Frank.
Oh, so
Their last name is Frank. That's the Frank family. And her name is Anne.
so there's still is there a tree still alive?
The tree is there. Here we can see the tree in the courtyard.
So
and they've-
what's the side part?
Well, we'll find out. We have to read and figure it out.
Already.
But right outside here, there's a war going on. There's soldiers and bombs. The older girl was quiet and proper. The younger was lively with dark hair. When they visited the factory, she wouldn't play by the canal or right by the kitchen window. She wrote for hours. Even when her father called her, she wrote. The tree loved the sight of her. So the tree loved to see the little girl. Here's a lot of people. In the heat of midsummer, the girl stopped coming. The tree dropped worried leaves until she spotted the girl in the factory annex. Her family was there too. A father, a mother, and a boy soon joined them. Later, another man and a black cat. So here's the Frank family, and then there's another family with a boy, and another man came also, and a cat. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people and one black cat all lived in this one factory area. The girl and her father stitched ragged curtains from the main windows. From time to time, a face might peer out between the cracks. So here's the little girl peeking out.
Why?
And because she couldn't leave the house. They were hiding. The only clear view was into the attic. There, the girl would read, stroke the cat, and brush her unruly hair. Sometimes she stared at the sky. Mostly she wrote. She filled a red and white diary. Do you know what a diary is?
We just learned that.
Oh, yeah? Do you guys have a diary?
Yeah, it says like dear diary.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you can write whatever you want. It's your personal writing.
Yeah, it's private.
Private. You're right. So the girl was writing all the time in her diary, and she was hiding in the attic of the factory.
But it's only hers, but not the...
Well, here she's just in the attic with the cat, and she's writing. And they had a couple floors, and downstairs were all the other people, the other family. When the warplanes roared and bombs rocked the annex, the girl fled into her father's arms. She did not come outside. The tree did not understand. The war dragged on. So the tree was like, what's going on? How come the girl's only inside? And when the planes came overhead, and they were dropping bombs and flying by, the girl would run to her father and hug her father. She's probably, how do you think she felt?
Sad.
Sad and maybe
Scared.
Oh, what are they lighting here?
Oh, menorah?
A menorah, because they're
Jewish.
Jewish. Once, through the curtains, the tree watched the people light candles and sing. So when they light the candles, they were singing what kind of songs? Ha- Han- Hanukkah songs, right? Because you light the menorah on Hanukkah. The girl grew pale and thin. A young woman helper who worked in the factory brought her pens and paper. The girl wrote and wrote some more. She filled page after page in her diary. She just kept on writing in her diary. Anne Frank. And this woman, she wasn't Jewish. She was a worker in the factory. She didn't have to hide. She brought things to the girl and the family so that they could live okay. The fourth winter of the war, fourth winter meaning 4 years already,
Look at this.
the tree saw the boy with the girl. They would talk and laugh or simply gaze out the attic window at her bare branches glistening with dew. So moved in a trance they couldn't speak. They kissed. So the boy and the girl became very
Went
close.
through a hole in the pants.
The tree made her blossoms extra bright that spring. Look how beautiful the tree looks.
What happened? Like, why didn't they have a war?
Well, the countries were fighting each other. There were some good countries and some bad countries at that time, or people in the countries. Late one summer morning, men in great gray uniforms came to the factory. They ripped the curtains from the annex windows, dumped the girls' papers on the floor, and herded the people into waiting black cars. The cars sped off. So these soldiers, the men in the gray uniforms, they came in, they found the people that were hiding, they dumped everything on the floor, all the girls' diary and everything, and they took the family away in some black cars. They took them away. The woman from the factory gathered the girls' writing. The tree kept a vigil. So here the woman found the diary, she kept it, and the tree that's in the courtyard, you can see year after year, sometimes there's a lot of leaves.
Oh, so that was the sad part?
Well, yeah, the girl was taken away.
Then where was she?
Well, she used to live in this city, but then she was taken away to another area where they took the people at that time.
Then where?
Well, it's a very bad place, but here the tree can't move. The tree had to stay there, so you can see the tree in the courtyard. Summer, autumn, winter, spring, the seasons change. Alexa, stop. The war ended. Only the father returned. See, just the father. He was thin with sad eyes as he padded through the annex like a living ghost. He was very, very sad. He was the only one who came back. The woman helper gave him the girl's writing. They cried. That was the diary. The woman kept the diary of the father's daughter. The tree lived on, but she was never the same. Time passed. To her surprise, other children came to the annex. They walked where the girl had walked. They sat where she had sat. Some found a wind-blown seed pod on the pavement or gazed at the tree, so moved and entranced they couldn't speak. Year after year they came. By the end of the century, the tree had lived a full life. She was ready to die. Many strangers came to try to save her. They injected her with medicine. They trimmed her crown and cut the sprouts from her trunk. They built her a steel support and collected her seed pods like gold coins. The tree recalled how few had tried to save the girl. So the tree had lived a long life. We learned at the beginning, 172 years. And at the end of her life, everyone tried to save her. But not a lot of people had tried to save the little girl when she lived when she was hiding in the factory. The summer the girl would have turned 81, a storm snapped the tree's trunk in two. So a big lightning came and snapped it in two. And just like the girl, she passed into history.
What's
Ju-
history?
History means she's no longer alive, but she's alive in history, in our minds. So the girl's no longer alive, and the tree also had to die eventually. And so we keep them in our mind. They're in our history.
So the girl died?
Yeah, the girl died. So just like the girl, the tree, she passed into history. Just like the girl, she lives on. But she lives on in our memory, not in on the plant, the tree, her seeds and saplings have been planted with love. So from the tree, you can take the seed and you can take little pieces of the tree and you can plant them in other places.
Yeah,
So that's what happens. One grows in New York City, where the Twin Towers once stood. Another grows in at Arkansas High School. Still more grow in England, Argentina, France, all around the world. Though the new trees are still young, children come to visit. They read the girl's words about a chestnut in a courtyard, glistening with dew, and touch the thin trunks. They are so entranced they cannot speak. And here's the little girl. That's a picture, that's a drawing of her, how she looked. Her name was Anne Frank.
For real life?
Yeah, that's a real drawing, of how she looked. Her name was Anne.
Someday you'll read her diary, Miriam. In school, they read her diary. The school children read it.
The end.
It's a pretty saying.